All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, beginner students. Let me see who's all here. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over your charts that you submitted in the chat. I know we did this on, what day was that? Thursday, but we were only able to get through one chart. So I am going to go back and pull up. I think Christina was the next chart after. Actually, I believe she was the first chart. Um, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh no, Mike was the first chart. That's whose chart we went over on Thursday. And then we have, is Devo on here? Maybe not. That's okay. We're gonna go over D Will's chart, which was GU, GU, based on the daily. And then we're going to show, let's see where it started. Okay. So D will started here. This down move. This move here. This move here, which was perfect. Now, I'm going to do this move, this move, this move, this move. Okay, so he did all of this. Okay, so his moves were perfect. The only reason I did this full move, you do have internal moves within that move. Let's see. Let's go here. Let's go. And then you have these internal moves. But this was your swing high. So technically, until price broke that swing high, this whole move up is a move. So I'm going to explain that in a second. But actually, this was not. Okay. Okay. Maybe this will help y'all understand. So whenever you have a pullback and it's breaking, you see this internal move, right? This little internal move right here. And then price broke that high and then turned around and broke that low. That is more of a swing. When you see price breaking structure in a counter trend trade and then turn around and continue do a continuation of a buy or sell, that's when you want to mark up your zone. So this is a great example right here. And then it started selling, right? So that's a great example of what not to mark up. You don't want to mark this up, although it is internal, right? But then it turned around and sold. You see here, you see right here where price sold down, it pulled back, but it didn't break any structure. So you don't even want to mark that zone up. This pullback here, it broke some structure, it broke some highs, but the internal structure is here. The last internal swing is right here. So until it breaks your highs, I just confused my own self when I said that. Okay. So I know y'all confused. Um, the way I explained it last night to someone is when you see the V's and the A's, the V's and the A's, and what I mean by that is this when I physically can see this A right here, right? Or I physically can see this V right here. I don't know how else to explain it. But um does is anybody confused on what I'm saying? Anybody?
Mm,
Yes.
no, I get it.
You say yes. Who say yes?
I said yes.
Oh, how
Yeah,
Aldijana.
Diana.
Uh, Adiana. Oh, can I call you Jana?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Let me just start with, let me go back to his markup, D Wheels. Let's just go back to D Wheels markup. So this was a push down.
Yeah.
This was a push up.
Yeah.
Had a
That's clear.
we had a pullback. It broke some levels of structure, right?
Yeah.
And then it broke that high. Instead of coming back and selling, it then turned around. So you can mark up that zone. This broke some lows, right?
Yeah.
And then this broke some highs.
Yeah.
So when you're breaking your highs and your lows, that's what you want to mark up.
Yeah, that's clear. I'm just not sure about what you were doing like after that.
Okay, don't even listen to that part. I'm gonna edit that video and take that whole part out, okay? Um, okay, so that is the markup that D Will did. So, anybody have questions on this part? No questions?
So when it came to like the breaker structure, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Was that towards like the bottom part of the downtrend, or like I'm just trying to figure out exactly where that breaker structure
Right,
began.
right here.
Right there. Okay, okay. Before okay, so before the
No,
that
I'm asking you, are you talking about right here in this area right here?
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where those points of breaker structure was because that's one part I didn't really like 100% comprehend. I mean, I think I have it, but I don't think I got all of it.
So
Like
if I'm looking at the internal structure, which means I'm looking at um this
this downtrend. Yeah, the downtrend.
this and then this push here and then this push here and then this
Mm,
push here.
yeah.
You can and then this push up here and then this push down here. This would be the first internal break of structure or change of character.
Okay.
But this would be an internal market structure shift. Okay. Once this internal market structure shift happens, now I'm not even looking at what's over here to the left, right? Because I'm only looking at the chart that D will submitted or presented.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's why I'm not looking at anything over to the left. So I don't know if this zone right here is in a demand zone over here for a continuation of a buy. Does that make sense?
It's just the last part. You said demand zone of buy.
Yes.
So,
So
okay.
and I'm going to go to the left in a few minutes, but because I'm only presenting what was presented in the chat.
Mm,
I'm only showing what is presented, and I'm making a point by showing only what's presented. Because if you don't look at the overall structure of your chart or of your pair, that's when you get smoked real quick.
hmm
Okay, so I'm showing this for a reason. So because this is a market structure shift, based on this down move, I don't know if price is bearish overall or if price is bullish and this is a pullback to a demand zone for a continuation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying now. It's in a
Okay.
sense you don't have an idea unless you look back, I guess, back test, I guess, the few months before to see where the demand zone or whether or not this was a pullback.
Correct.
I get what you're
Correct.
saying. Yeah.
So whenever, and this is, and I'm going to tell y'all this because I want y'all to know, this is one of my pet peeves, okay? When I only see a chart like this, if I have to then go and look it up and figure out, like, is this a valid bullish? Bullish? Are we bear? Like, I don't know, right? So then I am going to go, let me just go to the weekly to see that yes, we pulled back to a demand zone because if we look at the higher time frame, right? I see the structure is here and I see this is this is the current higher time frame swing that we're in or range that we're in, right? So
Hmm.
with this pullback, so if I fib my move, price pulled back to my 78, it actually pulled back to the 88, and I'm okay with that. So the 78 and 88, and I won't say why I chose this zone right here. I would have chose this 88 or right here for price to come back to then continue buying to the upside. So showing me this is not enough information for me to say that this is the market structure shift that we're looking for to take the buys. I need to know that we pulled back into this structure right here. So this was the last high that was made before it pulled back and then broke and then gave me this market structure shift, right? So that makes this my swing low and this my swing high. And if we're trading based off of market structure, okay, once you get a break, I'm sorry, I said market structure shift. This is a break of structure. If we're trading based off of market structure and you have this pullback and this break of structure, then you should be expecting price to pull back to a discount area. The discount area, some people will use the 50%, some people will use the 618. I think I've said it 100 times, maybe because you're all new, maybe you haven't heard it 100 times yet. But for me, if price doesn't come back to the 78 or 88, I'm not trading it. So I would need for price to come back to the 78 or 88 based off this last structure right here. Now, with that being said, the overall, the higher time frame structure is this right here. Now, this is where it gets confusing for most people, okay? The higher time frame is right here, which means I'm looking to buy up to, can anybody know where I'm buying up to? I would like to see price go up to.
That higher high that you just marked up, right? At the top near.
It could go there, yes. But what is the what would I be looking for, whether I'm on whether I'm internal, higher time frame structure?
The high
Oh,
low,
No,
the high,
no.
right there.
A lower high.
Supply zone?
That
I think you're looking for a pullback towards the swing high, no? If it hits that high level.
To
Or
what?
like
The
or like the
70
middle.
the
Yeah, I think
78 or the 88. So
Mhm.
when we're bearish and you have a higher time frame swing, you're looking for price to come back to a premium zone. Okay. Premium means that you're bearish. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't use the words premium. I don't use the words discount, because if we're bearish, all I'm looking for, like, I don't do all the fancy words. I'm looking for price to come back to my 78 or 88. Once price gets to the 78 or 88, I then start looking at the structure that's being formed. Sorry, guys. I then start looking for the structure that's being formed. So my point in looking at what's to your left is to understand where you're going. Because if you're buying and buying and buying, and I'm just gonna say this since Todd's not here today and not here to explain it, okay? I don't look for liquidity grabs. Um, um, I don't look for all that. Like, if it's gonna be complicated, if I gotta do 1,000 checks before I look for a trade, I'm not doing it. Okay, I'm telling you now. The way I trade, my plan, my strategy is very simplistic. I go to my higher time frame. I look for the current structure that we're in. As you can see, this is the current structure that we're in. Okay. And then you get a shift in structure, and you're looking for a price to then buy up to the 78 or 88 of this structure here. Okay. Now, yes, price could go up and sweep the high. Price can grab liquidity. Price can do I keep forgetting what Todd said. What's the word Todd used? It can do all that. It can do all the things. Okay. I don't even care about that. I am so focused on market structure, which is why I say market structure is king or queen. I'm gonna say queen, okay? I am so focused on market structure that I do not care about nothing else other than the structure. So, with that being said, based off of higher time frame, we had a break of structure here, and I'm hoping that y'all are picking up what I'm putting down, okay? I am hoping that you are taking notes. I am hoping that you are understanding exactly what I'm saying. If not, I need for you all to ask the question. Higher time frame. This is the last structure. So I'm going to mark up my swing high. I'm going to mark up my swing low. Okay. And I am going to mark my I'm going to mark my 78. And I'm going to mark my 88. Right?
Sorry, can I just ask something?
Yes.
Why is that your preference to mark 88? Because Todd is only saying 78 all the time.
Yeah, I just marked both of them. I marked both of them because as you can see right here, price has already hit the 78, right?
Ah,
It did
okay.
not break and it did not come and break the structure.
Uh-huh.
And turned around and broke internal structure, created another structure high.
Yeah.
This was a break of structure right here.
Yeah.
Now the internal swing high, this is the internal swing low.
Yeah. Okay.
So because it tapped my 78, did not give me what I was looking for, which
Yeah.
was a shift in structure.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking for it to go to the 88 to see if it turns around to give me a shift in structure.
Uh-huh. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Swing low, internal swing low, and then this is my internal swing high. And that was a great question, by the way. Internal swing high. Okay. So, and I also want to show you, you see where price hit the 78 here. This is what I want y'all, I want this to be so clear to you that you understand that price hit the 78 right here.
Yeah.
It then broke internal structure, right? It did not pull back to whether you trade, and I think I've mentioned this before. I look for price to come back to the supply zone, which is this order block here. I look for price to come back. Oh, I forgot I did this last night. Hold on.
Kim, I have a question.
Okay, hold on just a second. Hold on. So
Okay.
price did not come back to this supply zone. But if you look to the last structure, you could sell it. I would have looked for price to pull back into here to sell down to somewhere down to here. It is not a sell to go all the way down to here because you're still in this structure. So you're looking for price to sell back down to the 78 of the last structure that price is giving you. The last higher time frame structure that price is giving you. And if price had broken this structure, then this right here, this zone that I marked up would have been my zone that I would have looked for price to come back to then continue selling downside. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense.
Price would have had to break the swing low, and then I would have set a limit. And when I say y'all, I do not sit on these charts. I do not sit on these charts. So I would have set a limit here, and then I would have taken my TP to the last swing low that was broken, or the shift where the market structure shift occurred. And it probably could have and would have gone down lower. Matter of fact, it probably would have gone down to, if you mark up the imbalance, you could have probably taken it down to here. If you trade the imbalance, because price then would have bounced in there, pulled back for the next possible lower high, and then continue selling. So once you get a shift in structure, then you can start looking for your supply or demand zones and then selling it to, again, I like to take it to the low. 1,200 pips is way more than enough. Okay. But because price never broke this swing low, this was the structure. Your thought process is to always expect price to pull back to your I'm saying 78 or 88, 618, 78, 88. I personally only want to trade from the 78 or 88. So once price came back to that zone, I was expecting a continuation, especially since price, where is it? Right here. Price shifted structure. I'm on the 1 hour time frame, right? So there was a minor structure here. So what would I have been looking for with this minor structural break? Let me go to the 4 hour, see what. Okay, so I would have definitely been on the 1 hour. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So once you got the structural break, right? Then I'm looking for, I mark up my my institutional candle. Now, there are 2 candles in this zone. There's this one here, which could have been used, or this one here, which would not have been tapped. It would have missed you by a few pips. Now, I like to use the candle that has the lowest low, but I'm not even gonna confuse you on that. This right here, you could have marked up. Okay. I'm not even gonna confuse you because that's what I would have done. This right here, this would have been your swing low, this lowest candle here. So this was would have been your protected low. So that means if you were gonna take this trade, your entry would be here, and then your stop loss would be at the protected low. That would have been 38 pips. Now, as we see, price did not pull back to that zone. So that opportunity was missed. And then we had a break of structure right here, right? So once we get another break of structure and I miss this opportunity, then I'm going to go mark up my zone, and then price would have pulled back to that zone and then took off. That's when you could have stayed in that trade to this higher time frame, which was on was it on the daily or the weekly? I think it was on the daily. You could have taken that to the higher. Actually, you did not even have to take it to the high. You could have taken it to, you can take it here, right? This was the higher time frame last swing. So yes, you could have taken it to that high. Once price got there, if you didn't set a TP, you could have waited for price, and I'm just going to go back down to the 1 hour. Once price got there, you see how price came on the 1 hour. You then look at your structure. So you had this push down, this push up, this push down, this push up, this push down, this push up, and price tap that high. This push down, this push up. So price, the last internal structure of this move was this low right here. Okay. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And the reason why I want to show you that is because once price starts pulling back, people get afraid, like, oh my God, it's selling, it's selling, it's selling. You see all these red candles, right? if price doesn't break this low, stay in your trade. Don't get tricked out of your trade. If price does not break this low, do not get tricked out of your trade. And that is why I want to stress understanding market structure. So as this was pushing back down, right? It's still within this internal minor structure right here. Price came and it swept that high, and then it broke the high. Once you get a break of the high or the low, so this was what is going on? Okay, there was a break right here. Once you get a break, I'm gonna just put the internal swing high right here. Once you get a break, that is an indication that price is going to continue buying. So you got a break of this high, and this was the internal low. Internal low, right? So once you got a pullback to this internal high and low, and then price broke the high of that internal high and low, that is an indication that price is going to continue buying. Okay. And as you can see, price did break and it pulled back. It swept this low, but it did not close below the low. The close candle is your indication that price is going to continue in that direction. So once price started selling back, pulling back, once price started pulling back, right? Do not get tricked out your trade, because people will jump out the trade. They're like, oh my God, it's selling, it's selling, it's selling. If you are identifying and marking up your structure, and I mean, you got to be a boss with it. If you are identifying that structure, you will not get tricked out your trade. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, so once price pulled back, it swept that internal swing low. And then what did it do? You had your break here. Price pulled back. So if you got in this trade, if you were in this initial buy, where did we start it from? It was started down here somewhere. If you got in this buy right here, you would be up. And then remember, you're going to set it below here. You would be up currently 393 pips. If you identified the structure as you should have, and you know that we are right here, the last internal structure, price pulled back. Once price broke this structure here, and I'm going to move this so we can see it clearly. And I'm going to zoom in. Okay. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, shoot. Okay. All right. So once price broke this structure and then pulled back, we know we're in this is our last internal structure. And then price turned around and broke this high. Broke this high right here, pulled back, and then broke high here. And then this would have been your internal swing low. You could stay in the trade. So now this is our current swing. This is now our internal swing high. This is now our break of structure. So now this is your current swing. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions on that?
No, it makes sense. I just have a question of something else though.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
So what I struggle with is looking at the high time frames. I completely understand this, what you're saying right here,
Mm-hmm.
internal. Now I'm trying to see where is the external, where is the daily, where is that high that we're
So
in?
so
There we go. Oh, now I see.
so this
Okay.
was the current daily structure.
Uh-huh.
So overall, this was the last move down, right?
Yes.
Nothing else before that. This had a break of structure. This had the swing high, and this had the swing low. So that is the higher time frame main structure.
Gotcha.
So we should be looking for price to buy up to the 78.88. Now,
Mhm.
it can always go higher, but what I'm saying is if you're buying, if you got in on a buy back up to the top, I'm not looking to take out this high. I'm looking to take my profit at my 78 or 88.
Mm.
But in order to, now I personally would have taken my profit. If I had gotten in down here, I would have taken my profit at the 78.
Mhm.
As we talked about it before, price pushed up here and then started selling, right? But if you're looking at the daily structure, this is the structure. So price would have to close below this low if I was going to start selling. Price would have had to close below here. But so I use the phrase buy until you can't buy anymore, sell until you can't sell anymore. So if I saw this on the daily, if I came and if I came to my chart, and I'm going to erase all of this, all the drawings, okay? If I came to my chart, and this is what I saw. If I came to my chart on the week of October 14th, 2024, and I saw this, right? The first thing I'm going to do is squeeze in. I'm going to say, "Oh, okay. We're at a zone. We're at my zone." I'm going to mark up my break of structure. I'm going to mark up my swing high. And when I say this is a wash, rinse, and repeat, it is wash, rinse, and repeat. And then I'm going to mark up my swing low.
Mhm.
Okay. That's the first thing I'm going to do when I mark up. When I get on my chart at
Mhm.
the end of the week, before market opens, this is what I do. Okay. So now I have that. So now I'm like, okay. So price is buying up. Price. So once you get a break of structure, we know price is going to start pulling back, right? Again, I want price to pull back to my 78 or 88. So once price starts pulling back and I start seeing the structure, meaning I see a break of structure here, which makes this my swing low and this my swing high. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and mark it as a swing. Which one am I on? Swing low. And this my swing high. All right. Once I see that, once I see this swing low and this swing high, what do I want price to do? I want price to pull back to my demand zone, which is probably the 78 or the 88. As you can see, it was the 78. And then I want to take it to these highs. I used to do it to the negative 27, but I like to take it to the highs. And the reason why I do that is because if the 78 is going to be respected, right?
Mm.
Price is likely to come back, create a double top, and then could possibly sell. So I am going to always take it to the next high. So when I say take it to the next high, we're talking approximately 1,000 pips. But I'm not going to get out my trade because I am now looking at this structure, this internal structure of this because once price broke this high, now this is another structural move. And what I mean by that is, oops, this was the high, this was the low. Once price broke the high, this is officially now a break of structure. And then this is officially the swing low. And this is officially now the swing high. Okay. So my current structure went from here to here, from here to here. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody see that? Everybody understand that?
Yes.
I have another question.
Yes.
So the Fibonacci tool, I've
I
never
want
really
you to,
used that.
don't worry about the Fibonacci tool yet. Don't worry about
Okay,
it.
okay, because
We're gonna teach that. We're gonna go over that.
oh, good, because I'm like so not even
Oh,
focused on it. But
no,
then you
you
mentioned,
don't have to be. You
okay,
don't even need to be focused on it.
okay,
Like I said, if you just understand the break of structure, the swing high, swing low, the
mm-hmm,
main zone, the supply zone,
mm-hmm,
that's enough for you to learn right now. Like I want y'all to, I want you to drill it, drill it, drill it
mm-hmm,
until you can't drill it no more.
okay.
So I won't even use the Fibonacci tool anymore.
So, Kim,
Yes.
you were just starting what I was wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you look at a chart, you're looking at weekly first, then daily, then 4 hour.
So I usually I'll go to the weekly because I need to see the whole chart. That's the only
Okay,
reason why I'm on the weekly. I need to see the full chart. I need to see full structure.
okay,
So that is why I'm only on the weekly. Sometimes I will go to the daily and I can't see the chart
okay.
like I need to see it. Like, see, the daily won't let me zoom all the way in to see what's over here to the left.
Got you. Okay.
So I go to the weekly to zoom so I can see this little dinosaur right here,
Mhm,
which means he's ancient, which was back in 2002. So I can see the structure and I can clearly see price broke structure here that makes
mhm,
this point my swing high and this my swing low. So now I'm just identifying structure moving to my 78 or 88. Now, with that being in mind, I already see that price could possibly go. Now I'm saying could because I don't know. This is my supply. This would be my supply zone that I would like to see price go up to. But again, and this is why and No, I am going to use the Fibonacci tool because, but I will teach that to you all.
Okay.
We'll have a class strictly on Fibonacci, okay? Because it is important. So I'm looking for price to go to the 78 or the 88. So if I had gotten, again, if I had gotten in down here, or even right here, if I had gotten in right here, I'm looking to take this up to the 78. So that went from, even if you took it to the high, the swing high, that's fine. You got 1,000 pips. I'm not gonna complain on 1,000 pips. Okay. But based on structure was leading me to the 78. And what I mean by that is this internal structure here, this pushed up, this pushed down. Now, if price had come up here and broke this low right here, then I wouldn't even be looking at the 78. But price pushed up and then it wasn't breaking structure. That's all. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. Structure was not being broken in this low, then this low, and price pushed up. And now price is pushing back, breaking structure. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
Remove those squigglies. So as you can see, price pushed to the 78. So this is my last internal structure. Here, there was a break of structure here. Okay. Oops. A break of structure here. So that made this my swing low, this my swing high. And as we can see, price tapped the 78. I want to see price close below here. So if I'm trading off the 1 hour and the 4 hour, you see price close below this zone here, right? So now I'm looking for price to pull back to some supply zone and then start selling. And where would I be selling to? Based on this move right here, I would be selling back down to this zone. Or back down to this. I would be looking for a daily. I would take it down to here. So wherever price pulls back to, I would be looking to sell it back down. I would get my 1,100 pips, get my money, even if it's sold lower. I don't care. I'm getting my money right here, and then I'm going to see what happens next. So I'm going to hit the replay. And as you can see, price never pulled back, right? And I'm okay with that. I am totally okay with that because I already know this is the zone I want to trade from anyway.
For the buy.
For the buy.
Mm.
So I'm okay with that missing that. So I'm okay with it. Okay.
Kim.
Yes.
And that's where I need discipline because I'm not okay with that.
Oh my God. You have
I
to
need to chase that.
no,
I need to
oh
get it.
no, she used the word chase. Oh my goodness. Girl, Do you chase a man? Let me ask you that. Look.
That I don't know. Thank you, Lord.
Okay, then don't chase this. Don't chase. And although you may be looking at it like, oh my God, I could have been in this cell. A lot of people do it. Trust me, I've done it. I've lost a lot of money doing it. But when you start losing your money, like now, y'all know what they say about Capricorns, right? Y'all know what they say about Capricorns. They don't play about their money, right? When I'm losing my money, honey, I am not a happy camper. Okay.
Right. But Kim,
Hmm?
it has to be an entry, a pullback somewhere. It has, that's my problem.
Yeah, no,
It gotta be something.
look, there is, but the market will humble you if you think you know what the market is going to do. This was the trade. I'm telling you, I I would have loved to have been in this trade.
Mm,
Okay. I would have loved to have been in that trade. But if the market is telling me stand down,
mm,
I am going to stand down because I already know the market is bullish at this point. So I am going to wait for the bullish momentum to happen.
mhm,
So you see price came to my little demand zone, right? So
mhm.
now I'm just waiting for, and let me go down to, let me replay that. No. Let me replay that. Select bar, here we go. So the market is currently here. I'm going down to my 1 hour and I am going to look for structure. And as you can see, price already, and we just went over this. Price already broke. This was a break of structure. This was the 1 hour swing high. This was the 1 hour swing low. Price broke structure, right?
Mhm.
And I mentioned I would have marked up this zone right here. And it would have missed me. But what I know for sure is once price breaks structure, then I'm marking up my next zone. And this is going to be that zone. So once price broke, price pulled back to my zone. And I want to say it danced a little in that zone. Let me play it. This would be my zone. Now remember, once this broke structure, this is the swing low, this is the swing high. Price would have to break this low if I'm wrong about this trade. Does that make sense? If I'm wrong about this trade, this swing low has to be broken. So I missed that trade. This is now my swing low. This is now my swing high. I want to see one of the two get broken first. Whichever one gets broken first, then that's I'm trading a coin. This right here would be valid for me. So as we can see, price tapped into there, came back a couple of times, tap. Long as it's not breaking my swing low, I'm good. I don't sweat. I don't blink. I don't nothing. I'm going about my business. I'm not even looking at the trade. I'm not even sitting here watching out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like I'm not even looking at all them hours. Okay. I'm going about my business. I'm going to work. I'm going, and as you can see, price broke my high.
Mm.
So now I know I'm good. Now I know I'm good. Okay. Now I am a person, I know how to stack trades. Um, but I am, um, I usually just have one trade running. I don't care about people putting in 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trades, because you think about it, if you're putting in that many trades, you're likely to over leverage your account. So once I get a good trade in, I let that one trade run until I get to my TP. So I'm gonna let this finish playing out. Because now, as structure is breaking, now this is the swing high, and this is your swing low.
Mm.
Price broke that structure, but I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna let it play out. I'm gonna let it play out. So now you got this break of structure, right? So now
Mhm.
this is my swing low, and this is my
Mm.
currently, well, price is still pushing up, so I can't say that that's my high yet. But
Right.
you see it pull back,
Mm.
but I'm gonna keep this as my swing. I'm gonna just, you know, price broke here. This is my swing low. I'm gonna just let it keep running. And if you just hold on, so I'm gonna put this as my swing high
Mhm.
right here, because price
Ooh.
pulled back, and you see it pull back.
Cool.
And if I was looking at this low, I would say, I think there may be a shift in structure. Let me stop it. Let me stop it. Let me stop it.
Mhm.
So once it pulled back, I would say, oh, there's a break below this low. So I would be looking to buy it. Oh, so that opened with a gap. This was probably a market open with a gap. But this is my swing low, my internal swing low. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mm.
right? So I would say, okay, price might buy up to here. Price might buy up to this gap and sell, right? Because a lot of times when price gives you a gap, when the market opens with the gap, it'll fill the gap and then start selling. But if you're looking at structure, you had this push up, this pull back, this push up, this pull back, this push up. If you just follow the structure, it will not trick you out your trade. This push up,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
Okay, go back there. I thought price had already given you a market structure shift, because go back. Well, what time frame were you on that area?
I'm on the 1 hour right now. Which,
Okay, where your swing high is currently, I think market has already given you a change of character below that swing high,
right
isn't it?
here.
Because yeah, because that
Uh-huh.
was a new swing low. That
But
should have been your change of character.
no, because this was my break of structure.
Okay.
So really I'm looking, and yes, that is true. You could look at it that way.
Yeah, because there's
You could look
another
at that. You
break
could
there.
look at that way. Yes. But price is you're still in internal structure, right? Your
Okay.
internal structure, and this is how you can narrow this down. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase this. This is how you can narrow this down. Okay. So
Mhm.
if I go to my a little higher time frame, whether it's the 4 hour or the daily,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Based on the daily, this was my structure. Push down here, and then price, because price broke the structure, push, there's a wick right here that sold down, and then it bought up. Now, this was my zone. This was the daily structure here, right? So you would be looking for price to pull back to the somewhere in between 78 or 88 and up in here, right? But if you're looking at the daily, you're marking up the daily structure, you had this push up, this break, I'm sorry, this push up here, this pullback, not breaking this low, and then this break of structure, push up right here. And then you had that pullback, and then you had this high here. Okay. So when price pulled back, and yes, you could have traded that, and I'm gonna just go to the 4 hour. Or I'm gonna go back to the 1 hour. Let's go back to the 1 hour. So let's see. So this is your move here. This is your daily move here. Price pushed up, price pulled back, price pushed up, price pulled back here, price pushed up here, price pulled back here, and I'm just taking it to the lowest points. And then price pushed up, and I'm gonna take it to the highest point. So if you understand higher time frame structure, that's your swing low, and this is your swing high. Okay, so when price did, all the rest of this is internal. You have this move here, this pull back here, this push up here, this pull back here, this push up here, pull back here, 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 and here, right? So this is the internal swing of this leg right here. These are the internal moves of this leg. So once price did break your structure, because you're saying this right here is broken, right? There was a supply zone here. There was a supply zone here that price tapped into, but you had a demand zone right here that price sold back to. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because from what we've just seen, is this why you mark your internal structures from your higher time frame
That's why
so that you could
absolutely. Yes.
okay,
And
so
that's
that
why
you
I
could
started
have
you on the
more
daily. So you can have a clear view of where you are in the market.
okay.
So
So
even
you also have to
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, then when you're done, you also do a review on how to reduce your pips for your Excel because it's another thing that I'm still kind of confused
You say
about.
reduce the pips for the stop
Yes,
loss.
like breaking it. Yes, going down to the lower time frame and picking entries so that your pips could be tight and you
Yes.
don't. Oh, yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. I don't mark up my now. If I mark this up and if I mark this up and the pip stop and the pip was so for currency pair. See, that's 27 pips. And I'm on, oh no, I'm on the 1 hour. Sorry. So yes, I do no more than 25 pips for a currency pair. I do no more than 50 pips for an indice. So once I get within the pips that I'm willing to lose or hedge, then I'll like if this markup right here was 50 pips, right? Then I'm going to go to the 15-minute to see if I can narrow that down to 20, 25. Make sense? And I'm marking this up on the 1 hour. I'm marking my demand zone on the 1 hour. So if the 1 hour doesn't give me the stop loss that I'm looking for, then I'll go down to the 15-minute to see if it's going to give me what I'm looking for.
Okay, that means when you go down to the 15 minutes on that area where price tapped in, you'll be looking for a change of character or market structure shift.
I look for so because this is my zone, my daily zone.
Mhm.
Oh, you talking about the shift in here?
Yeah.
Yes, you can go
When
down.
it once
Yes, you can go down to your 15-minute.
I
Okay.
look for the shift.
As you can see, this was our break of structure right here, which made this our 15-minute swing high. A lot of people will use,
Swing low. Okay.
yes, you got it. You got it. So this is our 15-minute swing low. A lot of people will use this right here, this double bottom, and then this
Mhm.
neckline as the swing high, And you can if you want, but for me, this could easily go from here to here. That makes sense?
No, they don't really get it.
So if this is my break of structure, this is my swing low, this is my swing high. Price could easily go from here to this zone right here, this
Okay.
supply zone right here, and then start
Okay.
selling. So for me, I rather be safe than sorry. Although price did tap into my demand zone, I also need
Mhm.
then I also want to see the market structure shift before getting into a trade.
Okay.
So once I saw this shift happen, now there are two zones I see. There's an order block here, which means price could pull back to that zone, which it did, right? Or I would have been waiting for price to pull back to this. It didn't come back, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. Because once I saw this break, every time I get a break, I'm marking up my next demand zone. If it doesn't come back and I see another break, I see another, okay, there. I see another break, then I'm marking up my demand zone. And then I see another break. Why? Okay, hold on. What is going on? Okay, there. I
You
see.
you didn't okay.
Go ahead. So
You
before,
didn't talk about the fib on the first break for it to retest to about 78%. So is that really why it did not come down, like it didn't get to the 78%
so this
at the
break
first break?
pulled back to,
If you
I think
fib
I want to say that's around the 50%, 618. Let's see.
okay.
So see, this pulled back. Once this broke, this pulled back to the around the 50%,
50%. Okay, in between the 50 and
the
38.
38.2. Yeah. So I wouldn't have gotten in this trade because I would have wanted price to pull back to this 88
Or 78.
because that's or it's seven. But see, my demand zone is at the 88. So I would have expected
Okay,
to
okay,
go back to the 88.
okay, okay,
Yes,
that's true.
but if you trade imbalance, right?
Uh,
Which I don't trade, there was an imbalance here,
uh,
which was at the 78, right?
mm,
So there was an imbalance there, which was at the 78. So it could have just tapped into the imbalance and kept moving.
Okay. Kim,
Uh-huh.
so the Fibonacci too, is this something similar to order blocks and fair value gaps on entries?
Say that again.
The Fibonacci, is this somewhat similar to fair value, FEG's value?
No,
Um,
no. So if so for a confluence for me, when I'm looking
mhm,
for confluence, I'm looking for price to pull back to the 78 or the 88.
mhm,
I'm I know that there could be if there's an imbalance
mhm,
or an order block, then
mhm.
that's more of a confluence for me.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's more of okay, when price you're I'm likely almost 9 times out of 10 correct about the trade.
Mhm, mhm,
But like I said, price may not pull back there. And price may not pull back there. Then it may come back later on, a week later or two, and then pull back there and then bounce,
mhm.
right? So if I miss it, I just look for the next trade.
Okay.
If I get this break of structure, I'm marking up this zone. If it doesn't come to me, then I get this break of structure, I'm marking up this zone. If it doesn't come back to me, I see this break of structure, and then I'm marking up this zone. And you see finally this one pulled back to the zone,
Mm,
right? And you can take it to the high. Like I said, I'm taking my money, okay? Um, so that was 59 pips. So once price got here, and I would be on the 1 hour, but we're on the 15-minute.
mm,
But I see prices here. I see price done broke this high right here. I would have probably stayed in the trade. And as you can see, I have a supply zone over here somewhere from somewhere. Price broke the structure. I would have been looking at price, and this right here, I would have definitely said, okay, price is probably not going to pull all the way back down here. This consolidation. And
mm.
then as you can see, it just kept going up. So I would have stayed in the trade, like I said, because this was the ultimate swing. This was the bullish swing. I would have definitely stayed in the trade to that high. And that was 124 pips. Like I don't get scared or tricked out when I see consolidation.
Mhm.
I don't. I just know that this bullish momentum right here, price
Mhm.
bullish. Price is bullish. So I'm going to take my money at the top of this trade right here. And I don't know why I can't get to the top of the trade. There we go. So at 125,236, I'm taking TP. And then I can clearly see that price came here, broke past my TP, closed past here. So this is the next range. So when price is breaking in between here, I'm looking for price to pull back to here and then keep buying. Does that make sense? Because
Mhm.
higher time. So if I go to the daily, It's probably going to be a wick. You see, that's a wick, right?
Uh-huh.
And although I don't trade breaks of wicks, break high, I don't trade the high, but because I'm trading from the 4 hour and a 1 hour, that is a break of considered a break of structure to me once that candle closes on you, as you can see on the 1 hour, it didn't close. I mean on
Uh-huh.
the 4 hour it didn't close. But on the 1 hour, it did. Because that's usually where I'm sitting. That's what I need to see. But even if price on the 4 hour did not break, you have a break of structure here, you have a swing high here, you have this swing low here. Price broke that structure, pulled back into an imbalance and or supply zone. I would have missed it because I would have marked up this 4 hour candle for supply. And then it sold.
Mm.
So now let's play this out. And this is why I'm not a fan of trading the counter trend. This right here, I want y'all to see. So even though this broke structure here, this internal structure here, right? It pulled back into that imbalance. This is definitely a counter trend trade because price is bullish, right?
Mm.
And if you had sold thinking it was going to sell down to here, it would have taken you out.
Mm.
When I say I cannot stress, when I
But
say I cannot stress, if patient, wait a minute, hold on, sorry, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. When I say, if you're patient enough, okay, if you're patient enough to wait for the trend, you're gonna win, have more wins than losses. Because you like we say, we don't know if price is gonna pull back to the 50%, the 618, and then take off. And if I fib this move, okay, that it did just that 50%, 618, and then it took off.
Mm.
So unless you're watching the charts, you can catch this move because then this was the break of structure, and then this was I wouldn't have caught it because I would have marked up this candle here. But if you're trading the imbalance, it broke this high and then pulled back to an imbalance and then took off. But you have to be on the chart watching this all day, making sure you catch that move. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So somebody was getting ready to ask me a question. Who was it?
I had that question, but I don't think that was me that was about to ask.
Oh, okay. What's your question?
So do you look at the 1 minute and 5 minute?
Heck no.
That's why I've been losing because I stay on that.
Let me tell
Oh
you.
my
So
gosh.
when I first started learning how to trade,
Ugh.
we looked at the 4 hour, we looked at the 1 hour. Some days we'll look at the daily.
Mm-hmm.
But then let me just say this. When I was a beginner, looking at the 1 minute, the lower time frames, because I did not understand market structure. Now I can go look at the 1 minute if I wanted to.
Okay. Okay.
I could go look at the 1 minute, but because I now understand market structure. So meaning if I came down, if price came to my zone, I can go to the 1 minute or the 5 minute. to look
Oh,
to look for a shift in structure. But that's because I know I'm within this structure. If you don't know that you're within some structure
mm,
and you go down to the 1 and the 5, then you're going to likely. I always got lost in where I was on that lower time frame.
mm,
But
yes.
because I know what I know now, I um I can go down to the 1 minute or 5 minute, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. So if I were in the 5 minute, so if I were, I mean, because the structure is structure. So whether I'm looking at it on the 5 minute, I marked this up on the 15 minute. This is still the break of structure. This is still the swing high. This is still the swing low. Now, if I wanted to get super detailed, then this would be the break of structure on the 5 minute, right? Price closed below that low. This would be the 5 minute swing high, right? And this would be the 5 minute swing low. So once price broke that structure, we probably could have gotten in on that trade.
Mm,
But I don't usually go down there. I don't get FOMO. So that's why I don't demand zone. So once price broke that high, you could have marked up this demand zone. You could have put your pips, like, although this is what, a 7 pip trade, I'm going to always put 20 pips. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So you could have gotten in here and then taken it back up to your, where was that? It's up in here somewhere. Hold on. Let me go back to the 5. Because I can't see it. 15, 30 minute. Okay. So you could have gotten in here and taken it up to this high.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. Here it is right here. So what would have been I think it's about the same. 264 versus 272. It was this one. So what went from it was this one, because this is a 13% trade and this was a 10% trade. Same zone. Yes, you can go. If you know what you're doing, you can definitely go to the 5 minute, 1 minute.
Okay.
But you have to know structure. You have to know where you are on the charts
Mm-hmm.
before you go down to that zone. And if you know that this was the structure you marked up on your daily, once price got down there, you set an alert, and then you go down to that time frame. Yes, you can definitely trade from that time frame. And then know where your target is. Yes, you can definitely trade, but you have to know market structure.
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at. That's why I'm here.
You have to know market structure. So yes. Um, is wisdom. Wisdom, did that make sense?
Yeah, it made a little sense, but I was having network issue then, so I did not really follow.
You were having what?
A network issue.
Oh, okay. Um, this is recorded, so you can play it back once you or unless you have a question now.
Yeah, I usually play it back.
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong, but most times it seems like I get it, and the next time trying to do it on my own, sometimes I just feel like, what's next to do now? What's
So
next to do?
let me just say this. When the charts are live, all this goes out the window. The whole thought process goes out the window, right? But if you mark up your charts while the market is closed, identify your structure, identify your high
Okay,
time frame structure, identify your go down a time frame or two to identify your internal of those structures of the higher time frame structure, um and mark up your zone. And you don't it doesn't now I'm gonna tell you my chart never looked this crazy. I trade with a clean chart. Okay, so I just make sure I when I'm on my daily, I mark up this as my current. I mark up this zone and I mark up this zone because this is my swing low. So once price gets to this zone, you can set an alert and see what happens. As you can see on the 1 hour, price broke above that zone, right? That was my swing low, my daily swing high, and my daily swing low. Once price gets to that zone, and I'm just going to go back to the daily, and then based on the daily, mark up that structure that you see. You saw that price pushed up, pushed back, pushed up, pushed back, and now we pushed up. Okay. And this was the pullback right here. And this was the pullback right here. And that was the push up right there. So this is currently your daily swing low. This is your break of structure. And the current high right now is right here. Now price could push up some more, so you'll just move your high accordingly. But know that this is the range that we're in. So if price pulled back based on the daily, it can pull back to this zone here to then continue buying, or if I fibbed it, would love to see it come back to the 78, 88, but there is nothing over here unless I go down in time frame that's showing me maybe the 78, there's an imbalance, but we can see that that imbalance has already been tapped into. So if I go down to the 1 hour, based on market structure, I don't see anything other than this demand zone here that price could come back to. So as I go down in my time frame, I'm just looking for clear demand zones. And as long as price doesn't break close below this low, now there's equal lows right here. So price could wick that low, but long as price doesn't go below that low or close below that low, structure is still bullish. This is the daily structure. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. As long as price did not go below that daily internal structure low, it's still bullish.
It's still bullish.
Is that what?
So whenever you get a
Wow,
break
wow,
of,
wow, wow.
whenever you
That
get a break of structure, always think that my thought process is price is going to pull back somewhere. And like I said, it might come and sweep this low because there was equal lows down there. Price can come sweep this low and then keep buying up.
for it to buy, I think to the 78 of this
It could
swing.
pull back. It could pull back to the 100% because there were equal lows down there on that 15-minute. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. You see the two wicks are pretty much equal lows.
Mm.
Price could just sweep that low and then like with a wick, right? And then take off by and then shift structure for the continuation of the buy. But I would need to see that sweep on the 1 hour. I would need to see price come back down. Like I said, because there was no clear demand zone other than this right here. That means price would have to come there at the 78 or the 88, right? That means price would have to come here and then give me a shift in structure. If I don't see a shift in structure, then I know price is. Uh-oh. I'm gonna mute you real quick, Wisdom.
Sorry.
That's okay. Because this is the current demand zone that I see at the 78 and the 88. But because I hold on just a minute. But because price has these equal lows, it's possible that price can come and sweep that low and then start buying. So once price got here, I would be on my I will be identifying that internal structure. And if I don't see a shift, then I already know because I've already mapped it out in my head that price can come and sweep this low and then keep buying. And then once I see the shift in structure of a sweep of that low, then I will get in for the buy to take it to these highs.
So a candle needs to close above the sweep of low.
Yes. It cannot. If it closes below here, then I'll get in for a buy, but I'm getting in for a buy to then sell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm still on replay. Let's see what happens. And let's go to the 4 hour. So as you can see, price is still buying up. And it's gone. So if you had gotten in at this, no, where was it that we were talking? I can't remember now. I deleted it. I think it was over here. If you had gotten in here you would still be in this trade.
Mm.
So my advice to you is at the end of the day, identify your structure, where you are in your daily structure.
Okay. Okay.
When the market close,
Mm-hmm.
buy your structure and then trade from that structure.
At the end of the day or at the end of the week? Which
I
one?
I look at I market close, I look at the charts every day. I look and
Okay.
see
Oh,
where I am during so so did it finish? Okay, so it's still pushing up, right? So at the end of the day, say for instance, this candle. Oh, wait a minute. What did I do? Okay. So at the end of the day, and I'm going to delete all this.
mm-hmm.
I see I had this push. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete this. Like I like a clean chart. So the end of the day, price pushed up here. Like at this day, price ended, and then 2 days later, it pulled back, and then it broke structure.
Mm.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Mm.
so every day it broke structure here. So once price broke structure here, I'm like, okay, price is probably going to keep pushing up and maybe pull back to my zone. It
Mm.
doesn't. But once price breaks structure, I'm looking for price to either pull back to retest that zone or pull back to my 78. Now, I don't personally trade the retest of a zone. And I'm going to just tell you why. One, it's probably the 50% 618, right? So so hold on a second. Hold on real quick. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so when price broke here and it retested that zone, um, price broke here. Okay, I might have traded this. Hold on. Oh, but it wouldn't have gotten me at the 7. It wouldn't have gotten me at the 78. I would have looked for it to pull back to the 78. So I may have marked up this zone. I may would have marked up this zone because it is at my 78, right? But again, I would have had my limit here at or at the 78. So this would have missed me. And I'm okay with that, especially if I gotten in a trade earlier. I'm still in my at least my one trade. So um price when price broke here, you could have looked for the 78. I would have looked for this demand zone. It didn't come back, right? What was the question? I forgot what the question was.
Somebody asked the question. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because I think the question was, oh, do I check it on the daily or the weekly? Okay, I got it. Um, so each day when the market closes, so say this candle right here, close right here, right? And then price pushed above to break above that daily candle or the swing of this high. For me, I would have been looking at the swing of that high. price came back, retested the area. So once price came back and retested that area, let's go down to the 1 hour. Again, I would have been looking for price to come down a little deeper, but if you set an alert and price is retesting that area, you could have gotten in this trade. You could have gotten in this trade, but I would have been looking for this break of structure. Once I got that break of structure, I would have marked this demand zone that price came back to and then kept buying. So to answer your question, Marcia, like there's got to be a way to get in the trade. There is, but you got to look for structure. And as you can see, break of structure, mark up your supply or demand, and it's either going to come get you or not.
Okay. Okay. So when you file and when you're in a trade, I know you don't watch it, but if you need to look at it, what time frame are you looking at? Or you don't even care about small or the low time frames because
I'm
you
either,
already know structure.
yeah, I'm looking at the 1 hour or the 4 hour.
Okay. Ah, because the 1 minute and 5 minutes here FOMO. It's like it's like a big distraction to me when you're looking at on a
Yeah,
lower time frame like that.
yeah, I cannot do I can't do it. I can't do it. Them hours that you sat looking at the chart, you're looking
Mm,
at minutes going back and forth, back and forth. I can't do it. I can't do it. So yeah,
okay.
this would have been my zone for the continuation of the buy.
So was that really a change of character before the buy up?
Would so
That's only.
I wouldn't have considered this the change of character, but once price pulled back and then kept buying, that's this is the yes.
But I thought you needed the change of character before.
So this wasn't the change for me. This would most people would have considered that the change of character, and that's okay if that's what your trading plan say
Mm.
says. And then this was the imbalance demand zone right here that you could have gotten into. But I need to see a push up, a pullback, and then the break of structure or change of character. And then
Okay.
I would have marked this as this candle here as the demand zone for it to pull back into and then keep buying. Only because I knew that price on the daily price broke structure, right? Right, price broke this structure here. So once price pulled back, and let me just go back to the 1 hour. Or was I on the 1 hour? Was I on the 15 minutes? Yeah. So if price pulled back, if I looked at the 1 hour, right? So what am I looking for price to pull back to based on this 1 hour bear structure? Anybody?
What was the question again? I'm sorry, Kim.
Based on this 1 hour bear structure and price started going bullish, what would I be looking for price to buy back up to?
And the demand zone, the last swing low, which is about the 78 or 88%.
Right there.
Okay. So once this structure happened, I could have at least bought it up to there, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
144 pips,
Mm.
145 pips. But if you didn't want to get out the trade, if you wanted to watch it, I would have been looking at structure because now this is their swing high.
Mhm.
That was the break. If I thought price was going to sell from here, I would have been looking for, I'm going to go down to the 15. I'm going to do it on the hour first. Let me mark it up. You see, there was a push up, a pull back, a push up, a pull back. And let me bring this down to here. Because structure is not being violated or broken.
Okay.
Where was it? Here we go. As you can see, this was a break. This was a push up. This is a pull back. This is a push up. So if price pushed up here and then came and broke this low, then I would have been looking for the sell of a continuation to break these lows.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question? Wisdom? Is wisdom still on here?
Yeah, I'm here, but I didn't get it. Please.
So
After the change of time.
if I was looking at the 1 hour, hold on, let me put this over here. If I was looking at the 1 hour and I knew I had already identified on the daily that price may pull back to this zone, right? And then I went down to my 1 hour and then I identified this was moving down. So this was moving back down to, and remember, I said I would have wanted price to come a little further. Although when I marked up this was the 78. This was around the 78 point. Okay. This was around, hold on. Okay. This was around the 78 mark. Now, I would have been looking for price to come to this demand zone here. All right. But price came there and then started shifting in structure right here. Right. This was the one. So this is what I would have thought. I would have thought, okay, price is going to come here, here. I see that there's a shift. So maybe it'll come here and then come here and then shift. Right. Y'all get that?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
So to take advantage of the buy up to this point, there was a shift, a break of structure here.
Mhm.
I got in at the demand zone to
Mm.
buy it up to the structural point or supply zone here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm either going to take my money once I get to the zone, or I can come down to the 1 hour, identify the current structure, right? And either wait for a swing low to be broken or keep buying until I can't buy anymore. So what I mean by that is, actually let me so we had this pullback and then this push up,
Mm-hmm.
right? And let me make this a little thinner. So okay. So we had this push up and this pullback. and then actually price broke structure here. So we had this push up and then this pullback. So then we had this push up and this pullback, and then this push up and then this pullback, and then this push up. Price is never breaking these lows.
Right.
So as long as price is respecting those lows, you can continue staying in the trade if you're on the chart watching it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
If price had come down here and broke these lows,
Mm.
then you would be looking to come back to if price had come here and then come here and then come here,
Mm-hmm.
then you would be looking to sell. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. No, that is true though. You would be looking to sell from this zone at least back down to this zone. But if you look to your left, price broke above. This was the actual market structure shift
Mm-hmm.
right here. That's the actual market structure shift. Okay. But you could have bought up to this zone to either look for a shift in structure to then continue selling down, or waited for price. If price had not broken this high
Mm-hmm.
and the shift happened before that, then you would have been looking to continue to sell. But because price broke that shift, that high, or created this shift in structure, price is going to come back here. I'm trying to tell you. I'm just trying to tell you what I know. At some point, price is going to come back. Did I really finish? Okay. Yeah, that's done. But in the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
let's go back to the daily. And I want to erase all this. So when price came back to this zone, and you saw the shift, once price came back to this zone, and you saw the shift on the lower time frame, which was the 1 hour or the 15-minute, you could have at least bought it up to this high.
The zone you marked out there, that's the demand zone, right?
This, I would have marked this,
Yeah.
I would have marked this as the demand zone,
Uh-huh. That's what I'm concerned.
but most time, occasionally, sorry, price would have broken structure. This is pretty much a break and retest. If y'all ever heard of that. It's just a break and retest to this break. Again, it was around the 78. So you could have traded from there,
Mm.
but this is what I would have marked up for price to come back to. This demand,
Okay, same with me.
this demand zone right here. This would have been my demand zone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But once price retested that break, and you can do that with any trade. Once price retested this break, you can go down to your lower time frame and identify structure. The structure was either going to show you that it was going to sell down to the demand zone, or it was going to break structure or give you a market structure shift, which it did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not come back to this demand zone. So if I was on the 1 hour, price came back to this zone, right? I had this zone marked up. I would have been looking for price to come into this zone here without breaking that high. It couldn't break this high. This is my high here, right? Now, if I had seen it wick and then break structure to the downside, I would have been selling down to. So if price had come up here, wicked, just wicked, and then broke structure, I would have been looking for a sell in this zone to sell down to here. But because price closed above this high, this candle closed above this high, that is the market structure shift.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
Okay.
I have a question. So this green is a demand zone. I was
Mhm.
looking at that red as a demand zone as well, though. I thought both of them would be some kind of demand zone where the market would come back.
So this was just for the way I see it, it was just um a break and then a retest of that break. So there was an order,
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Oh, I on the daily, I see. Okay, okay, I get it. I get
That's
it.
why you have to know where you are to know where
Wow.
you're going. You
Is
have
that what you was? I think maybe that's what wisdom was trying to figure out.
um that's possible. You have to know where you are to know where you're going.
Yeah, and see this also. I'm getting to see something else that I need to ask a question about.
Go ahead.
Like from the from that demand, from where the market broke structure, you could
Mhm.
see. Put it in between. Come to your right a little bit. Your right. No, your left in the middle.
Uh-huh.
There.
Uh-huh.
You see, there's a swing there.
There's a what?
There's a swing. There's a swing low there that took it high, broke this previous structure. But why wouldn't you be looking for a demand zone at this swing low there? Yes, yes. Why wouldn't you be looking for a demand zone there? Is it because it hasn't retested up to the 78%?
You're talking about right here, this break right here?
Yes, this is a swing. Yes, that's a break of structure. That's a
It
swing
is
high.
okay, so okay. Great question. Great question, Wisdom. So when I'm looking for my demand zones, because one,
Mm,
there's no demand zone in here. Like
yeah,
this, like even if this broke right here, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no demand zone in here. Like there's no order block. There's an order block, but there's no imbalance. Your demand zone has to have an order block with an imbalance. Does that make sense?
That, that's what I'm missing then. Yeah.
That that's what you have to look for. And yes, this,
Okay.
this is a valid break of structure. But price and you because you want to look for these impulse moves. You want to look for these impulse moves. And then as you can see right here, like this
Mm,
was just a little consolidation.
mm,
And then you had an impulse move from there, right? So you could have used that. Yeah, you could have, but I need price to go. I need to see price once this candle breaks, you have to include like you're expecting the pullback, right? If it didn't pull back, it's almost still a valid um zone. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Once this impulse move happened, I would have been looking for price to pull it back here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's definitely possible. You're right. You're absolutely right, Wisdom. Price could have came here, pushed up, and then it broke structure. That could have been a sign of a structure shift, a market structure shift.
Yes.
So you have to trade accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
You have to trade accordingly. And what I mean by that, if we were saying that this was a market structure shift, right? That means we would be expecting price to pull back into this zone right here, right? And then sell. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all
No.
got that?
Yep.
So if we're saying that this is a market structure shift right here, or a change of character, then you mark up your supply zone, which is here, and you're expecting price to come back into this zone to sell.
Sell to where then?
It doesn't matter. Just sell down to the lows.
Okay, like
Okay.
if you're putting your TP, assuming you're using your take profit, where would you be expecting the least?
To this low, to this, there's another demand zone,
Mm-hmm.
either to that demand zone or to this demand zone.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
but when price started pushing up, and we're going to go down to the 1 hour, when price started pushing up, you would have to see a structure shift in this zone for price to start selling back down. Meaning, once price got to this zone, you had this push up, this pull back, 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 this push up. Like price never shifted structure in this zone.
Okay.
Okay.
But if okay.
So, and then price.
But if price had shifted and I wanted to sell, I
Yep.
think I would have sold to this if
You
price
could have,
has
you actually
shifted
could have just
structure
sold, you could have sold to this low,
to,
or
yeah, exactly. That was safer for me.
so if price had come into your zone, and this is what we call the POI, right? Your point of interest. If price had come here and then shifted here, then you would look for the pullback. You Let me turn this off right quick. Then you would look for the pullback to then start selling to these zones. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But price never shifted structure. And then it broke above that high. Then it closed above this high. So now you're still bullish.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes back to this zone right here. Once price gave me a break of structure here, that was my swing low, that was my swing high, and then I marked up my current demand zone. You could have bought up to this zone, which is and matter of fact, you could have bought up to this um 1 hour supply zone. Once price got there, you could have taken your money, right? Because if we thought this shift of structure happened right here, this would have been your supply zone that you marked up. And let me on the 1 hour. right? Once price got there and never shifted structure, right? It even came there, pushed back, came there, and then broke that swing high. Now you're back to bullish.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were watching, you could have stayed in the trade, or you just could have taken your profit at this supply zone. And I'm going to tell you how the market will trick you out this trade. Most people look for double tops and then this break right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this break right here. That is why I said when right here, this right here, I don't consider that a change of character or a break of structure. Most people would have saw this double top and this break of structure here and said we're selling,
Mm-hmm.
right? When all the while this was the last structure of the push up. The market will play you if you don't know structure and then take your money, because most people would have been in a would have seen a double top, would have set their limit here, would have been looking to sell down to wherever, and then price would have came and stopped them out. You have to know market structure.
Mm.
I don't care that price came up here and gave a bearish shorter block. I don't care. The structure is here. The swing low is here. Until price breaks this swing low or this swing high, then I'm not phased in the least little bit. That's your swing high. That's your swing low. Price broke this swing high. So you can now make, let me change the color. Let me change the color. And the thickness. Okay. So now that's your structure. That's your swing low. This is your swing high. That's the structure until price breaks this low. This was your swing low. That was your swing high. Price pulled back, broke structure. Now this is your swing low. This is your swing high. Price broke structure. Excuse me. Now this is your swing low. This is your swing high. Price broke structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now this is your swing low. This is your swing high. Price is not breaking any lows.
Mm.
Now, this is your swing low. I'm just going to leave it right here because that's about the same. And then this is your swing high. Price did not break above this high. So you need to see price break below this low or break above this high. What is going on? Okay. Okay. Now that price has broken above this high, this is now your swing low, and this is now your swing high. Until price breaks below this low. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You had a break below this low. So I would have been looking for price to pull back into, I would have been looking for price. And this is the same one we just looked at. Remember, price broke on the daily, it broke and pulled back and retested right here. But because if you're not looking at the overall, as Wisdom mentioned, this was a structure shift. This was a structure shift. So I would have been looking for price to pull back into a supply zone to sell.
Mm.
In the meantime, I would have been taking a few buys, right? Up into that point. Once I get to that point, I identify my structure. Identify my structure. And at that structure, this is my swing low. This is my break of structure. This is my swing high. Price has once this all this is happening,
Mhm.
you have to wait for price to break the high or the low.
Mhm.
This is all this right here is in between, tricking people into thinking that price is in the zone and it's going to sell. If price is going to sell, price is going to break this low, pull back, and then start selling. If price is going to continue buying, price is going to break this high, and now you have another level of structure here, break of structure, and then this high, and you're going to keep buying. So once price broke up here, you're looking for your demand zone. As you can see, there's an imbalance and order block here. And that's where price can, and then you have to cover your low. You have to cover your low. Do not put your stop loss below this low, this low, this low. You have to cover that swing low.
Mm.
And then you can take your profit up to that high. It's 167 pips. Once you start building equity in your account and you're trading based off market structure, and you start increasing your lot sizes, 167 pips is more than enough to start flipping your account. Okay.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
And candle closure is important too, right?
Candle closures are very important. So based on where this trade went, right? So price pulled back to the demand zone. And I will teach y'all stacking at some point, but don't pay attention to it now. Just hear what I say. Just hear what I say. This was the last break of structure, tapped into your demand zone, and then turned around and changed character. Right?
Mhm.
So if I wanted to put in a second trade, I'm gonna wait for the market structure shift. I'm gonna mark up my I'm gonna mark up my demand zone. And if it don't come back and get me, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Because once the next break of structure happens, right? Then I'm going to mark up my demand zone and it's gonna come get you at some point, right? It's gonna come get you at some point. And then you take your profit at that high. So price broke here, it went up. So once price broke here and I marked up my zone, and I know wisdom is gonna ask, but you had a break of structure here, and then you had a break of structure here, and that's all true. But on the higher time frame, you go up in your time frame, and this is why I'm only in one trade. I'm only in, so once I got into this, I'm not doing anything until my TP is hit here. I don't stack like I used to because of this same question that wisdom had, right? Because of this same question that wisdom had. Price broke, price broke here. There was a demand zone here, but as you can see, it pulled back to this initial demand zone
Mm-hmm.
and then buy. But if I'm in this trade right here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking it. If I'm in this trade right here, I'm taking it to my high. That's the only trade I'm in. I only need one trade. You only need one trade.
Mm-hmm.
You only need, well, I'm not going to say you, that's my bias that you only need one pair, but I know that Todd is teaching y'all, and I know that you're learning different pairs. So I'm gonna stick to that. Okay. I'm just gonna stick to that. This is the swing. This is my demand zone. I'm taking it to the high.
Mm-hmm.
All really all this is in between. And what was your question?
Oh, I said, so you basically, you take in your money, and then if it drops back down to the demand zone.
And running. So now I'm looking for price to break this high.
Mm-hmm.
Once price breaks that high,
Mm-hmm.
so I got in here, and then price broke this high. So my new demand zone is this zone that price never came back to.
Mm-hmm.
This right here. Okay. Now, as you can see, price came back to it, but understand that there was no structure at this time. Price came down here. That was the low, right? Price pushed back up, but there was no structure, meaning I needed to see a push up, a break, and then a shift. That is structure to me.
Can you show us on the daily what you're saying about this? Because I think maybe you are seeing it clearer and you understand it that it's from the daily.
I understand it completely from the 1 hour. Completely.
From the one that's the problem. You're advanced and we are
Yes.
beginning
Okay.
to
Okay. Okay. Okay.
when
I
you do it, show us gradually.
I will I will I will I will take that. You're right. So on the daily, price never closed above this high. You see that? That makes sense. Price never closed above that high on the daily.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
So So, and then my last swing was from here to here to here. So this was my last swing low on the daily. That makes sense? Let me clear the screen. So price pushed up, price pulled back, price pushed up. Okay. This was my
Wow.
swing high.
Sorry. Can I come in a little bit?
Yes.
That this swing, where your cursor is currently, take it to the left. How can you see this swing? This swing is kind of not clear to me. This swing, yeah, that one there.
This right here. Because it was a sell
Yeah,
down.
that's
It's a bearish candle.
how I don't, because Mr. Todd sees such thing and me I don't see it because
So price
I'm
push.
more.
So price, this candle right here, this daily candle.
Mm,
See that wick, right? That wick on that candle.
mm,
Price pushed up and then pulled all the way back and closed right here. When it closed here,
okay.
it pushed down and then closed here and then pushed up. So after this daily candle right here,
Mm,
so you had that daily. So if I marked up the daily candle, this daily candle right here,
mm,
that was the high and that was the low,
and,
right?
mm-hmm.
Price
Yes, madam.
either had to close below here or sweep the low, and it didn't. Price didn't sweep on this candle. Price didn't close above or sweep the high. But then the next day, price closed above, price pulled down to, and I'm just marking the low of that candle. And
Mm,
you do know the anatomy of a candle, right? The high, low, the open and close, right?
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Okay. So that's why I'm marking that price pushed up here and then it pushed down here and then it pushed up and closed up here. So that's the swing. And then I'm marking all the way up because then pushed right. Price didn't push, price did push down a little, right? And then
mm,
pushed up. But price closed above this candle. So this is my high point above that candle.
mm,
And when I say high, I mean the wick, the high of the wick.
mm.
So that is how that's why I see this move right here.
Okay, maybe gradually I'll understand it. Gradually.
But if you go down to a lower time frame, you will actually see it. That price pushed up, right?
Mm,
Price pulled
yeah.
back, and
Mm,
then price pushed up. So that red candle that was in between there is
Mm-hmm.
this push down right here.
mm,
Oh, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Mm.
That red candle, that bearish candle that you saw on the daily, that daily
Mm-hmm.
bearish that is this move down right here. It moved
Mm.
down and then it pushed up.
Hmm. So I would have drew my lines differently on the daily. I was looking at that last swing low.
Which one, right down here?
Yeah, I would have took it from there, brought it all the way up to that top with the blue line.
So
Totally.
so
Mm-hmm.
let me say this. So
Okay.
this was a break of structure, right?
Uh-huh.
This was a swing high. And this is why I say always look to your left. Always
Mm.
look to your left. because this went from here to here and then broke structure, right? Price, this
Oh,
broke structure right here.
oh,
You see how
mm,
this can hold on. You see how this one candle we was just talking about
yeah.
closed above and went there and then pulled back
Mm,
and then pushed up.
mm, mm. Wow. Ooh, okay. I see now. Mm,
So although you would have marked up it differently,
mm-hmm,
would have still had the same structure. So now if I go down to the 4 hour, you see the break of structure,
mm-hmm,
and then there is some internal structure in there, right? You got this push down, this pull up, this push down, this pull up, this push down, this pull up, and this push down. And then price broke internal structure of that move, of this move down, this one big move. Price broke internal structure, pulled back to your imbalance. It didn't pull back to the demand zone, and then started breaking internal structure. Okay, pull back. So it broke structure, it pulled back. It broke structure, it pulled back. It broke structure, it pulled back. And now it's in alignment with that daily structure move
mm.
that we just talked about. So you wouldn't have been wrong. You would not have been wrong. Okay. And then price came down to that zone. And then what did it do? Who can tell me?
It went back to the man.
Nope. Once price got to this zone here, then what happened?
It went and closed above.
Resist.
What what is it?
That's a rejection candle.
Nope. All I want to know is the structure.
Okay, that's a change. MSS, market structure shift.
So you had a break of structure here,
Yeah.
had a swing high,
Yes.
and then you had a swing low, and price shifted in structure. Now, what price going to do? What we think price is going to do, right? Now, this is never 100% correct, but price,
Mm.
we look for price to pull into this demand zone to keep buying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm.
So once it pulls into the demand zone, are we looking for some kind of rejection and close a candle?
You can go down to a lower time frame, maybe even a 15-minute.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be looking for price. So if I narrowed it down, this is my narrowed down demand zone on the 15-minute. It might even be this one here. It's going to be one of these two. So I'm just going to mark up this whole zone from here to here.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see price come into this zone. And as you can see, now I'm identifying structure. I have a break of structure here. I have a swing high here. And I have a swing, currently a swing low here. So price could, what I would like to see price do is pull back to a supply zone and then sell into my POI
Mm-hmm.
and then give me some kind of structure, meaning pull back and then a shift in character, meaning it broke this high. There was a break of structure here, a shift in structure, then I would be looking to buy from the once that shift happens, and then I'll cover my low wherever that may be. That's 18 pips, so I'm definitely going for 20. Okay. And then I would be looking to take price to, because price, remember, price came to our daily swing. Price did not close below that low. And now I'm looking to take my TP to these highs, this high right here.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, this is a break of structure on the 15-minute, but remember on the daily, it was not.
Okay.
Remember, it was just, oh, wait a minute. It was a break of structure. So we had to break a structure. Okay, that's right. So price did not break structure until this high right here. So price came from here and broke structure here. That's right. That's right. That's right. So your TP would be this high right here. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
That makes sense, Wisdom?
Remember you said you don't find structure on the 15 minutes because it's tricky.
Yeah.
But you did that there.
Huh?
But you did that there. You were looking for an or you were looking for a
Because
market
you're
structure
looking
shift
for
on the
a shift based on the higher time frame swings.
okay.
Because of this daily swing, right? This was the daily swing. So you're looking for price to pull back to that zone somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere up in here to shift and then to shift character. There was no closed candle. Remember this one daily pullback right here. No candle closed below that low.
Oh, that's right.
Now you're looking for the shift to continue this buy.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once market is in your zone and you scale down to the lower time frames, you must get a shift and a retest to either the demand zone on the lower time frame before you
Yep.
buy.
Yep.
Okay. You must see the shift
So
and the
this
demand zone.
so even on the 1 hour, even if I didn't go to the 15-minute, right?
Okay.
I had a break of structure here, this swing high, and then I had a break of structure here, and then this swing high. Okay, break. So once this, you see how this broke this structure here, right? This wick pulled back to the demand zone, right? And I'm going to delete the bigger POI so you can see it. Price pulled back to the demand zone. And now it's breaking structure. So now that price has broken structure, this is the next demand zone.
Mm-hmm.
So once price gets to that zone, you can either set your limit. Now, I will say, I would want to cover a little more of the structure or the swing because you had this push up here, this pull back to here, and then this push up here, pull back to here, then this push up. You get it, right? So once price broke this structure here, now I'm looking for price to pull back to this demand zone here. The only thing is, no, that's it. I would look for price to pull back to this demand zone because price pushed out and now I'm waiting for it to pull back. So now that I'm waiting for it to pull back here, I then identify the bearish structure that's going down now. Break a structure, swing high, swing low. Look for the pullback, possibly into this imbalance somewhere. If it doesn't come back to this supply zone, and break structure. So now that you have this break of structure, then I'll look for a little pullback and look possibly for another break of structure. And then I would look for a shift in structure. And then you can set your limit. If you're actively watching the chart, you can do this. Or you can set a limit, an alert. You can set a limit, or you can set an alert, right? Once that alert goes off, you go down to your 1 hour, and you can look for structure, the shift in character on a 15-minute as well. I'm not gonna say that you can't, because price is in your POI. Remember, I said I can do the one in a 5-minute, but price has to be in my POI, and I know
Okay.
market structure.
Okay.
So once you see the shift in structure, but you have to be clear on marking up your structure, specifically on a higher time frame. So if you're on the 1 minute, 5-minute, you make sure you mark up the 15-minute, 1 hour structure. And then once you get to the lower time frame, you can look for the shift and buy it, trade it up to that structure, and then make sure price is breaking that structure in order to stay in the trade.
Okay. On the lower time frame, what if it gives you a shift? For example, this actual trade on the lower time frame, it gives you a shift and gives you another demand zone. Can you mark
Right,
your demand
right
zone there?
here.
And no, on in the zone where your
Uh-huh.
entry begins. What if it, yes, around there? What if it gives you a shift on the 15 minutes and gives you another demand zone?
Then you can trade from that zone. Yes, you can trade from that demand zone.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're watching for the shift, and you can trade from that demand zone, and then that will narrow your stop loss, because this will be the protected low, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what
Mm-hmm.
went from 20 pips can go to 10 or 15 pips.
Okay.
So yes. And then you still would trade it up to the high that was initially discussed, wherever that was. Make sense?
Yeah. So what do you call your strategy? Supply and demand SMC. What
Yes.
the
So SMC.
oh SMC. Well, your kind of SMC, are they diverse concepts
Huh?
like like you don't use FVG. So
No,
is
I
it
don't.
really
I don't use F. Yeah, I don't use F.
what why don't you use it if you're trading SMC concept?
The only way I would accept this fair value gap
Mm,
is if price then turned around and broke this structure. That's the only way I would accept that fair value gap.
okay.
Because in my
Okay.
eyes, price is in that fair value gap, but this is my swing high, this is my swing low. So my thought process is, because price is still bearish, right? Go back, broke structure. I'm expecting price to pull back and break. I'm expecting price to come back to this zone. However, if price, if if the market opens and opens above this zone right here, then I am going to look for, then this would be my demand zone, and then I would trade from that zone. So it would have to break this swing first. in order for me to accept this fair value gap.
Okay. Well, let me stay with the one you're showing me because you simplify things a lot and you take your time to break it down.
And that's the whole thing. I don't, if I was trying to trade every fair value gap,
Mm.
I would be trading a lot of stuff. Fair value gap here, fair, like it would just drive me crazy. I need it as simple as possible. I need it as simple as possible.
Okay, so if you were to recommend um, a course, like a resource is for us to go through of exactly what you do, like what resource, what material would that be?
I would
Because
say if I've learned all of my smart money concepts from YouTube.
really,
Yes. And
wow.
and there there was only one course that I took that is no longer available from
Mm,
let me see what his name was. It was and then he left for a while. So it was hold on. It was from Track Effects that taught smart money concepts the way that I trade now. But he doesn't have a course anymore. But there are tons of YouTube video videos that I love, and um I'm going to drop hold on from A to Z. I'm going to drop their names.
okay, even if it's a PDF, I think what I read stocks with me than what I'm watching. Like if it's a PDF as well, I would love if you do drop something like that, like a written material, so step by step
Um
with the
I don't have
images
I don't
and
have
everything.
I don't have a PDF. Um but I will drop some YouTube videos, the links in a chat that I feel are great structural videos that trade the way that I trade.
Okay, okay, that's great.
Okay. So I'll drop those in the chat. I mean in the Discord, the Discord channel for beginners. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions?
Okay, that would be great.
No, this is one of the greatest videos that I've saw. Well, the Zooms that I've saw out of you and Todd. This one is really going to get me to understanding market structure. Like this really got me excited.
That is why it's very important to do a top-down analysis and identify your structure. And then you can go in the smaller time frame, the lower time frames
Mm-hmm.
to know. And if you just mark up your zones, again, based on the daily, we had the break happen here, so we went up to this high. So if you just mark up your zones from the daily, and then go down in lower time frame to narrow that down, to narrow those zones down. Let's go down now. to your demand zone. This is where I would now, that would be my 1 hour demand zone where I'm looking for where price went to, which is where price went to, right?
Mhm.
And then shift the structure, and then you just mark up the demand zones from just that. This was the break. This was the new demand zone. I might even want price to come down here. This would be, this would be a perfect trade. You see, it's in alignment with my that's my confluence right there. It's in alignment with my 78.88. So for the GU trade, I would be looking to buy from here, not even here. So I would set my alert down here. As we can see, I'm expecting, we broke structure. So we're expecting a pullback, whether it comes to this supply or not. Push down, pull back, push down. Just look for structure. I would be looking for price to come down here. Like at this point, this is the 618. I don't trade the 618. That is part of my trading plan. I don't even look at the 618. And matter of fact, this was the zone here. Okay. I would be looking for price to come down here and then start buying back up. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions?
Nope. So therefore, when you actually enter, you are entering your trades on a 1 hour. You don't even drop down to 15.5, right?
I set my limit as long as my TP and stop or my hedge or whichever one I'm doing. My stop loss or my hedge is within a reasonable pip count. I'm going to set a limit and go about my business.
Okay.
Yep.
We need to rewatch this.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
And
I think we all need
It's
I
a
to.
long one, so
I
at one point I'm just like my head is like a bit.
exactly. I meant to keep this under an hour or around an hour. Um, because we were just looking at the chart. I wanted to get to at least two chart reviews from your homework assignment. But I know that it can get we can go on and on and on, or I know I can go on and on and on about market structure.
Yeah.
But definitely, and I hate that this was another 3 hour video. Um, so I would just say go through the video, kind of just skim through it, and then get to the point where we really hone in on the structure, especially from the daily.
Okay, will do. Thank you so much.
All right.
That's
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
And y'all know if y'all have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so